And today I'm going to show you what it means to embrace uncertainty and why it's a key to success with Agile projects. Hey, David here and welcome back to the Agile Broadcast, a channel dedicated to exploring Agile software development concepts, where I do short explanation videos just like this one. If you want to subscribe, please go ahead. I would love to have you on board. And make sure you hit that bell button as well so you get notified when I upload a new video. So here I want to address a really important topic that's rarely talked about, and it's the idea of embracing uncertainty. It's a phrase often used by Agile advocates, mostly as a rebuttal to this urge that we have as human beings to plan everything, to predict everything to the last detail. And we know planning everything up front doesn't work. So this phrase is often coined as a way to say, don't worry about it, get used to it. You cannot plan everything, so, just embrace uncertainty. Just get used to the fact that, there is risk and we don't know things. And while there is some truth to that, it means so much more, and this is what I want to show you here. So if you want to succeed with Agile and truly get the benefit from it, what I'm about to show you is really important and you really have to understand it. So here's the situation. Let's say there is a spreadsheet that someone in the company has created, and because it's useful, it's starting to be shared around. So everyone's got a copy and everyone is making their own little tweaks here and there, having their own little versions. All these users are sort of happy with this. It's not great to have all these versions, but it works for them, so it's okay. From a management perspective though, it's a bit of a mess. Too many tweaks and changes made here and there by who knows when and why. And now people are starting to get different results from the same inputs. Not good. Long story short, it's a bit of a mess. But that's your status quo, so let's call this A. So now you're getting an initiative to sort this mess. So you're getting a budget and a team to work on this and create a proper professional software to harmonize all of this. So that's your goal, and let's call it B. And you'll know you've reached that goal when people have stopped using the spreadsheet and are now only using that new software. Now, because you're Agile, things are going to change along the way. As the project is progressing, you're making changes. You're deviating from the plan, you're making changes here and there, and you eventually end up here. Let's call this B prime. It's not something you'd planned originally, but it's okay, it's something slightly different. We knew this could happen. It's Agile after all. Now, hopefully, B prime is a better solution, a better outcome than B would have been. So the value of B prime is greater than the value of B. That's the promise of Agile, right? The promise that by getting feedback often and regularly, you can get to a better outcome. But here's the thing, how do you know that? How do you know that the decisions you've made along the way were actually the correct decisions to make? I mean, sure, those decisions could have been the best decisions you could have made given the context and the information you had at the time. And anyways, those decisions would be way better than any decisions you would have made at the very start of the project, when you know the least about anything and when you didn't receive any feedback yet. But it doesn't mean that B prime is the best solution that could have happened. Out of all the possible outcomes, who knows if B prime was the best thing to go for? And it's very possible that there is a solution out there that is much better than B prime. We just don't know about it. So if we call this optimal solution C, then by definition, the values that C bring would be way better, way larger than what B prime would bring. And if C is a much more desirable state to get to, the question becomes, how do we get to C? How do we get there? How do we make sure we allow ourselves to explore the landscape enough that we can discover what C is and not be stuck around a narrow path around B or B prime? Remember, B was just the initial idea of what to do. Think of the cost of the missed opportunity if you don't get to C. It's potentially huge. And this is where the true power of Agile lies. The ability to discover the right product. The ability to discover the best solution. That's really what embracing uncertainty means. Admitting that we don't know at the start what the best solution is, and that we therefore need to do some active discovery to find out. But this is also where I am somewhat sympathetic to people who are reluctant with agile methodologies. Because if you zoom in this area here, all you can see is the path going to B, the planned outcome, a path going to B prime, where you actually ended up, a path to C, where you don't know how to get there. And given the horizon and the lack of knowledge you have at this stage, it's impossible to distinguish between those paths. Even worse, there could be a path here that leads to just failure. And surely you don't want to walk that path. And this is what your agile-phobic managers are afraid of. So when you make a change or you take a new direction for your project, don't just tell them embrace uncertainty, meaning get used to it. It's not going to reassure them, is it? You have to leverage the risk of not exploring the landscape and therefore not discovering C, and the risk of falling into a pit. Both risks are valid and you have to take them into account when you define your development strategy. And as soon as you open up for the possibility to discover C, you also open up the possibility for failure. So wanting to not deviate from the plan is very tempting. So you make sure you get to B and you never get to failure. But that's at the cost of missing C entirely. If you enjoyed that video, remember to go ahead and click that thumbs up button. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you learn more about agile software development in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.